Wake Up Radio Network.
A rational voice in a world of conspiracy. Jim Duke perspective.
If you would like, I'd like to invite you to subscribe to our podcast. You can do it from any of your favorite podcast apps and players. We're on all of them. And my website is jimdukeperspective.com. So we didn't touch on this topic yet, but actually we didn't touch on this news story yet about the supposed Illuminati cards that come true. And this one Illuminati card more recently during Trump's assassination attempt was pulled out. And it says, "Enough is enough." And it shows a whizzing bullet by his ear.
Wow.
Now, I mean, that's pretty close. And it says, "Our snipers can be any place, and we could take you out from any place," or something like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like a hint. Now, they say that this was a hint that they knew that this was Illuminati card because Hulk Hogan came out and did his little wrestling stage performance, and he ripped off his shirt, and he said, "Enough was enough." And they said, aha, he's hinting to the Illuminati card. He's making it fulfilled. Well, he didn't say enough is enough, which is the Illuminati card. He said enough was enough. Maybe he was hinting to the fact that he referenced the Illuminati card. But the question being is, when did the Illuminati card get printed for this? And is it coincidence? Is it subjective? What is it? And I'd like to brief people on what these Illuminati cards are, because some people may not know. There's a game that this game creator, Steve Jackson, put together in 1981. It's called the Illuminati Card Game. He created it in 1981. It was published in 1982 as a role-playing game based on conspiracy theories and further speculation of events likely to occur or to be accused of the infamous Illuminati groups. He was playing on the Illuminati. He was kind of being tongue-in-cheek conspiracy theorist, joking around and making a card game about it. Now, they're not the Illuminati. It's a card game. Before anybody says, oh, the Illuminati have a card game. No, it's not their card. They just named it. However, out of these cards that were published in 82 and then again in 94 and 95, there's booster packs, they're called, supplement packs. All these printed before certain events. However, it's several coincidences of the cards were similar to real life events, leading to suspicions that came as like maybe it's a mysterious foresight, if not a phenomenon connected to scripting the most horrific events of all time. It's been accused that maybe these cards are like fortune-telling cards, or if these cards are somewhat scripted that spiritually get enacted. You think there's any magic in these cards, Darren? They're normal cards. They're produced by a normal printing company, and they're put on the commercial market as cards. Now,
no
they
magic
weren't chanted
like
over. No, nothing like that. Supposedly, now maybe Steve Jackson is involved in the occult. I have no indication he is. But either way, he even wasn't intending to do this for any magical or mysterious purposes. He was playing along with the conspiracies. So the 1994 installment called Illuminati New World Order cards has over 400 cards depicting different political figures, conspiracy theory topics. Jackson supposedly was accused of predicting major world events like 9/11, the Boston Marathon bombing, Princess Di's death, and even the attempted assassination of Donald Trump. And if you look at these cards, They're weird. One of the cards has the Twin Towers blowing up. And they said he predicted the plane crashes in the buildings.
Well, actually, did you know that there's many like album covers and rap artists, the videos portraying the towers collapsing?
The Simpsons.
The Simpsons, dub wrestling, WWF wrestling.
Yeah. The Marvel's cartoon series. They were attacking the Twin Towers.
Yep, there's countless things.
I know. It doesn't say that somebody was given a narrative. But what I'm saying is he's claiming that he was just making likely scenarios. But the 9/11 one, it wasn't planes hitting their building. Yes, coincidental, it was on the Twin Towers and a bomb blowing up in the middle of the Twin Towers. But it says a nuclear attack, the cards read.
Nuclear, okay.
It wasn't a nuclear attack, unless you want to stretch it and say, yeah, there weren't really planes. There were a nuclear attack. It was directed energy weapons. Maybe. But he claims when he was brought to that, because they brought it to him, what did you know? He goes, I was just playing off the 1993 bombing of the World Trade Center, saying that they're likely to try this again. And all I did was make a scenario that it was higher up this next time to make an impact. I wasn't suggesting that it was planes or anything. All right? So he passes it off as, no, I didn't know anything. I just did it, right? However, he also did a scenario where the Pentagon was hit. So
wow.
It leads you to question what he knew. He has a card on the Boston Marathon.
I've seen that one too, yeah.
Yep. Princess Di's death, which, he shouldn't have done that. I mean,
I think I've seen every card that they had, actually. I went through them and, yep.
I mean, we could go through these cards and we could pick out what might be next. Now, this is strange. And stay dead. This card, doesn't it look remarkably like that Assange guy?
Okay, there we go. Perfect. There's Assange.
Yeah, it looks like him.
Wow. Yeah, I've seen this one before.
I mean, that's the problem is, there's the Twin Tower one.
Terrorist
nuke. But pretty close, isn't it?
Yep.
Here's the Princess Di one. Now, I'm saying this, but people are watching this on video. The people that are viewing it, that are listening to the podcast, can't see it. So, backlash, deprogrammers, oil spill, Pentagon. Here's the Pentagon one, but it's showing in the middle. It's not.
Wow.
It's not exact. But now he's saying he's just taking scenarios that are likely and hints that he heard and putting them up. So. I mean, how close does he have to be? I don't know. I mean, that's pretty close. Charismatic leader, that looks like Trump. Hillary Clinton, that just looks like Hillary Clinton holding a noose, holding a rope. Then they got one with a Clinton, Bill Clinton with a noose around his neck, like she's holding it because it goes with that one. Quarantine, here's the quarantine card. So you see these cards are very, very close. But the claimers are that they didn't intend to have real life scenarios. They're not predicting the future.
Wow.
Yeah, so,
I'm working on one right now with The Simpsons that I can put on the share screen. This is
all right, go ahead.
Pretty intense. It's something that somebody pointed out about the U.S. dollar, and but the crash of the dollar.
Can you show
the U.S. dollars? Well, I'm working on it now, so I'll give me like a couple minutes, and then
okay.
Yep.
All right. So
I just have to inverse the.
All right. Well, we'll get to
image.
that. We'll get to that in a second. Yep. All right. So the 1994. Okay. So I mentioned that. So now it could be passed off as coincidence, because it's likely coincidence. It just I mean, if you have 1,000 cards and you're trying to depict conspiracies, I think you and I could probably make cards that'll eventually come true.
True.
Now, some think it's soft facts, and some believe predictive programming fed to the card maker, or it could be revelation of the method. Others might think it's time travel. Did this Steve Jackson travel in time in the future and then travel back and make these cards? He doesn't claim. But could it be demonically communicated? Could this be demonic, where a possession of the recipient to I seen that one, the Simpsons. You're holding up.
Yeah, people can see that. There's on the left. It looks like in gray. It looks like a stock chart, and you can see the arrow right there. And then we have 11.6 with the dollar.
Yeah.
So it looks like a stock chart going down. And could this be?
Well, that's not
predictive?
even. Turn it the other way.
Well, no, it's this way, because if you look at the bus upside down, you can see it looks like a stock chart, and there's the arrow right there.
Okay, well, I know,
where
but
the window is,
turn
and
it
then
the
you have
other way, and you see it
US
says 9/11.
Well, that's 11.6. Are they predicting November 6th that the dollar will crash? And that's when the November election is.
Oh,
so people,
for new ones?
You may want to check out the screen that I have right here, the share screen.
All right.
And see if they can see it too. So, I just had to show you that.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
So, some people say that maybe he traveled in time, but it could be, okay. So, first of all, I don't know if you know this. We did a show on this, Darren. So you don't listen to the shows, so you might not remember. we do it, but you're kind of zoned out sometimes, thinking of other things. I am too, so I'm not accusing you. I'm just saying that you don't sometimes hear everything we say. But we did a show, and I mentioned the CIA agents, and I found out more about that. CIA agents are hired for every Hollywood movie and TV show, especially if they're depicting real-life spy stuff, because they're trying to clean up the reputation. They don't want people to have a bad taste in their mind about the CIA. So while they're going on and doing espionage and assassination and such, they just don't want the public to have that reputation. So they're trying to make themselves clean up their act in movies and stuff, such, to give the CIA a good light. So they have CIA agents feeding storylines. Remember, I suspected this once before, that it almost seems like they're feeding somebody something. They are. They're feeding the producers and the scriptwriters. They're feeding them scenarios to go for and not go for, and things. They're feeding them insight information that they don't mind the people knowing. And the reason is because they're subjecting them to it before it happens. Some of this stuff, they're feeding them these narratives. So I'm wondering if somebody fed these guys these narratives of things that they knew were coming up, or things that were on the table as possibilities. You see what I'm saying? If anything, okay, so I'm going to say this next. How do you get exact scenes, like in The Simpsons and on these cards or whatever, exact scenes, the same shirt, the same look, the same scene from years later, from when you did the show, when you did a cartoon or whatever, to be exact? How do you even explain that naturally that could happen? Unlikely that coincidentally you'll see Trump riding an elevator with the same signs and everything else that was in the
escalator.
There's no way.
Well, unless they had it planned out long in advance.
No, you'd have to get every single. Do you know how many variables you would need to get in place to have everything exactly right?
Good point.
It'd be too probable. So the only thing I can offer on that is, since these people are probably not inclined to the Lord, not inclined to God, and I don't know that they are or not, maybe they are, but could this be something that's almost demonically programmed to happen?
Good point.
That's the only way I can explain it. Demonically communicating and putting the pawns in place But why would the demons care that we know this ahead of time and that they're putting them on cards and in cartoons? Why would demons care?
That's a good question.
That would be a question. So are they really involved? Or is this just kind of hokey pokey imagination, abstract coincidence or whatever?
Matrix?
Yeah, I'm not going to go to the simulation world and the matrix world and the quantum physics because there's too many variables. Like we mentioned the last time, quantum physics, to say there's two choices and it just picks the one choice, there's not one choice. There's not two choices. There are billions of multiple calculations that you would need, which means there has to be billions of timelines ready for one to come out because every one of those aspects could change. A person didn't wear the blue shirt that day, or the sign wasn't held that day. She left the sign home by accident. The hair, she dyed her hair the day before. You see how many variables will have to be changed to have exactly the same amount of choices you would need for everything to line up?
Cloudy day, sunny day.
Yeah, exactly.
Weather.
Anything.
Yeah.
Temperament.
When you factor them all together, the astronomical probability, it's just astronomical.
Right.
Yeah.
So honestly, I don't know how they do it. Now, this game, the Illuminati Cards, was inspired in September 1981 by the 1975 book, The Illuminatus Trilogy, written by Robert Anton Wilson and Robert Shea. Steve Jackson and his freelance cover artist, Dave Martin, discussed sharing admiration of the Illuminatus Trilogy and later suggested making a game out of it. They tried not to make it close, and they actually got sued for being too close. But they researched the Illuminati and conspiracy theories extensively and enthusiastic playtesting these scenarios in this game to see if they worked out. And then they put it out on the market in this format. And then they made expansion packs and incorporated into a deluxe edition. So these things it's a game. It's a role-playing game. The game has ominous secret societies competing with each other to control the world through various means, including illegal, legal, and even mystical means. It was designed as a tongue-in-cheek rather than a serious depiction, according to Jackson, to take on conspiracy theories behind the Illuminatus trilogy idea. It contains groups named similar to real organizations, such as the Society for Creative Anachronism and the Syabonese Liberation Army. It's played with 2 to 8 players, depending on the number of players. A game can take any place from 1 to 6 hours. And even the novelist Robert Shea of that book provided a 4-paragraph introduction to the rule book of the Illuminati expansion set, in which he wrote, "Maybe the Illuminati are behind this game? They must be. They are, by definition, behind everything."
That's what people say.
Yeah. And there's 3 types of cards: Illuminati, groups, and special cards. Players take roles of Illuminati societies that struggle to take over the world. It depicts 6 Illuminati groups: the Bavarian, the Discordian Society, the UFOs, the Servants of Cthulhu, the Bermuda Triangle, and the Gnomes of Zurich. The deluxe edition added the Society of Assassins and the Network, and the Illuminati Y2K expansion added the Church of the Subgenius and Shangri-La. The aim of the game is fulfilled when Illuminati build a power structure consisting of giving a number of cards dependent on number of players, or when the Illuminati fulfill its special goal, such as controlling at least 1 card of each alignment for the Bermuda Triangle. The world is represented by group cards such as Secret Masters of Fandom, the CIA, the International Communist Conspiracy, Evil Geniuses for a Better Tomorrow, and many more. There's 300 official cards available. Every group in Illuminati has some power, resistance, and income values. Most of the world groups have an alignment. The game uses multitude of conspiracy theories, in-jokes, cards referring to fictitious youth leaders mixed in. Special cards represent unexpected phenomenon and features like the Mandela effect, cloning, different things that we think are phenomena. Players take turns with primary Illuminati player actively taking control of groups. Others are attacked to neutralize, removing their influence of the power structure. Attacks to destroy them. Players can trade, make alliances, and conduct other activities. But tactics include backstabbing, concealing motives, cheating, stealing, and doing anything it takes to win. Hey, just like the real Illuminati, right? The attacker must overcome the resistance of attacked people. They can use money allotted to them by money counters of the group who must be the bankers. So these cards, they play out each like sect of Illuminati groups. And they're all competing to try to take dominance of the New World Order. That's basically what they do. And you think they trust each other? Do you think they sit in an office? This is what people think of them doing. Sitting up in an office, all these groups going, hey, come on, we're having a party next week. Hey, let's conspire against the people this week. What are we going to do this week, George? I don't know. Jacob, I think we'll blow up a building. Oh, yeah, that's cool. People think they're like sitting there joking about this stuff, making alliances and doing this. They're not. They're highly defensive people, highly protective people, highly possessive people, highly insane, devious people, suspicious, and only wanting the power for themselves. When you have this, what's the saying? Absolute power corrupts absolutely. When you have this, you have a bunch of maniacal people, oligarchy, who, even though they may be in alliance with each other in some ways, have their eye open on each other. So you have these fractions. You have these little hiccups in the system. They're not all powerful. They will come against each other if they have to. They're all doing it for the same goal, though, which tells me that their puppet masters aren't in their group. It's outside their group. And since they serve and have a place for Lucifer, I believe that Lucifer is over these guys, spiritually, demonically controlling them, and that their fractions are nothing, because in the end, it's Lucifer who wants to be on the throne and run the world, not them. He's just using them, right? So ultimately, it's these all groups that, Lucifer works through possibly, who are basically pawns for him. They're trying to run the world, but it's really Lucifer who wants the world. Wants it destroyed, but wants it. Mm-hmm. What's it say in Isaiah 14? Oh, son of the morning, son of the dawn. It's referring to the Hellel, the shining one, the light bearer, and Lucifer is Latin. Lucifer, how you said, I shall ascend myself above the Most High, sit on the throne of the heavens. I'll rule the nations. That's what he wants.
Yep, I will. I will. Yeah, exalt my throne above the stars. I will be like the Most High. I will.
Right.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So this is basically his game. This is what he does. And the Illuminati, who's behind the Illuminati, and we've identified these. I'm gonna probably do another show on this sometime. I might even start a new series about certain aspects of conspiracies rather than all speculation. Just reading through my notes on like who the Illuminati are. And again, they're a group that's blamed for all these conspiracies, mishaps and everything else that happens. But what we refer to when we've referred to the Illuminati isn't the 1050 Illuminati or whatever year that was in the 11th century. It's not the Los Alumbrados in the 1500s. It's the 1776 version of the Bavarian Illuminati, who actually dubbed themselves the ancient Illuminate seers of Bavaria. That's their actual name. Of course, it's in German. I can't say the German, but it's in German. And it's shortened to the Order of the Illuminati. And that's the Adam Weishaupt sect of it. And he brought it out by this group he put together called the Perfectibilists. So how it worked is in 1776, Adam Weishaupt was a high-ranking Jesuit, Catholic-trained priest. And he, there's not a lot of evidence that says he was an actual priest, but in order to be a professor of Ingolstadt University, of Jesuit School University, to be high up like that, you have to be recognized as something. And he was trained as a Jesuit from youth, so it's deducted that he is a Jesuit priest, or at least a high Jesuit agent. But when the first Jesuits disbanded in 1776 because they got found out, they called for their disbandment. Adam Weishaupt just basically incorporated his group of perfectibilists. What he did was collect the most wealthiest families, bloodline families, and he brought them together to help rule the world and to integrate and infiltrate every single sector of society using their wealth, and to cripple the governments and the monarchies to build a centralized government that they control for a new world order. That's basically it. And they caused wars and revolutions in order to plan them so that countries would fall, and then they would gobble them up. They would put their people in, they'd rebuild, they'd become slaves to them. And the Illuminati families, you heard the bloodlines of the Illuminati, were other elite families that came together, and they supposedly trace back to the bloodlines of the ancients. And that's why he calls his order the oldest order, the ancient Illuminates seers of Bavaria. So he brought together what he felt was the highest intellects of his time, and they vowed to follow this agenda. And they were the Illuminati, basically. And they infiltrated every single sector of society to try to influence it, including the clergy. And it was funny what Adam Weishaupt said about the clergy. He said, I was just trying to basically break up their theism and cause them to be deists so that they would submit to the age of reason. And that way I could kind of water down their theology. And he said, I was surprised I had more of an impact than I thought I would. And they were almost worshiping me as a religion.
Wow. Yeah. Adam Weishaupt. Just like with Charles Taze Russell and Joseph Smith. Oh.
Yep. And they all have their own Illuminati takes too. They're Illuminati families. But yeah, so they took hiding cover in the Freemasons in 1777 so that they were an inner circle within the circle, and they controlled the Freemasons from inside. Not all Freemasons are Illuminati. It's just that Adam Weishaupt's Illuminati infiltrated the secret societies and other places to control the sectors of society towards their New World Order agenda. And that's basically it. And then they formed a round table. They had sectors of the round table. They had the Royal, what's it called? The Royal Institute of International Affairs were influenced by the Illuminati from the Chatham House, as well as the CFR in America. That was the American version, Council on Foreign Relations. And they had the Illuminati members in that. And they basically ran their sectors of society to influence it towards socialism. And it wasn't really socialism. It's globalism. It's collectivism. It's centralized one world government is basically it. And then, of course, they had their CIA from that. And they had the FBI. The The FBI came first. They were like in the 1800s or so. They were in the early 1900s, early 20th century. And then the OSS that merged into the CIA with influential members. Allen Dulles was the founder of the CIA. He brought the CIA to when he was first brought to CIA, they brought him over to the Vatican and had him dubbed by the Vatican as a Knight of Sylvester. That's a high-ranking Jesuit. So basically, the CIA is like a Jesuit-blessed agency.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
So all these things kind of trickle in, and that you have this game about the oligarchy groups all battling for dominance, and you have that in real life. You have the royal family bloodlines. You have the black nobility Vatican bloodlines. You have the financial bloodlines. And they all seemingly trace themselves, that's why they call them the Illuminati bloodlines. But that's the basis of what this is all about. So, yeah, is it any wonder they do have some supernatural aspects to them? I mean, what's funny is the Illuminati tried to sever the influence of supernaturalism. They tried to sever the influence of the Holy Spirit. They tried to sever the influence of Christianity by bringing in the age of reason. So you question the supernatural, and everything has a scientific measure now. And but they themselves did not dismiss the supernatural. They just they didn't want people to have that kind of power. They were occultists. They were Luciferians. So, all right. So I don't know if I
that's interesting.
Yeah,
real interesting.
So that's your cards. That's based on the conspiracies, but it's based on the real groups and the concept of the Illuminati. But not the Illuminati. Like, your performers are not the Illuminati. They think they are because they're flashing the pyramid sign, and that's actually an ancient Babylonian symbol, I believe, but it's also the eye of Osiris, or the eye of Horus in Egyptian mysticism, and the Freemasons took on that symbol too. Do you know what the actual symbols of the Illuminati are? And I researched this because I got a bunch of books. My research, and I got to go back and refresh it because every once in a while I have to refresh because I do this off the top of my head, but I forget or miss facts. First of all, the Illuminati said they're going to take over the media, streams of information, so they can control it. They said we're going to take over education so we can control it. And then if you look at the tenets of the communism, Karl Marx, Marxism, it's the same exact outline as the Illuminati. So he's been influenced. No private property for the people, centralized government, the state owns the children. That's all abolition of religion. That's all what Adam Weishaupt wanted to do. And they had symbols. And I have books back in 1700s. I have a couple books from the 1700s and one from the 1900s that was translated from the French to English. I bought that book. So I have the Illuminati documents. So I know a little bit about them. And the two symbols that I seen come up, what do you think the symbols of the Illuminati are?
Well, obviously, the first one is the capstone over the pyramid. But if you notice that the capstone is above and it's not resting on it, which means like their work is not finished.
Yep. That's actually not their symbol.
Oh, really? Yep. The all-seeing eye?
Nope.
Or the eye of Horus?
The all-seeing...
The compass.
That's Freemasons.
Okay, Freemasons.
But Illuminati.
You said the Illuminati.
Yeah, Illuminati.
Okay, the all-seeing eye, right?
You'd think so because they're Illuminates. So the all-seeing eye does represent them, but that's not their actual, the symbols that they took on. The two symbols that I've seen prominent in the Illuminati are the circle with the dot in it and the Ouroboros. The snake chasing its own tail.
Oh, right.
Those were the notorious symbols that I've seen come up in Illuminati circles. People don't even know this. The circle with the dot represents a couple different things in Illuminatiism. First of all, you've seen that symbol in the Target logo. That's the Target logo.
Oh, okay, right.
That's actually an Illuminati symbol. Straight up.
Wow.
The circle with the dot represents either a pyramid with the point on it. So it does still look like a pyramid, although it's round. So it's not really a pyramid, more like a cone. But it's actually the sun. It's a sun fertility worship symbol. And it's a duality, male, female, fertility worship, things like that. So it's actually sun worship. It's a symbol of sun worship. The Ouroboros, I don't remember what that is. The snake chasing its tail. You've seen that in, there's a lot of replications of that. I think NASA used that as their symbol.
Oh,
it's
right.
not really
okay.
a snake. It doesn't look like
serpent's-
it doesn't look like a snake, but if you look at it, it is.
Well, actually, the serpent's tongue. That's what the NASA red logo is.
Oh, okay. If I'm not mistaken,
And the word NASA in Hebrew means to deceive.
yeah, that's what they say. Yeah. Yeah, maybe you're right on that. All right. So, oh yeah, that is. I was thinking of something else. Wasn't thinking of that one. Oh no, it's got the Ouroboros in there. Okay. So, yeah. All right. So let me share this with you. All right. Can you see that? Can you see that? Oh yeah, you're muted.
Oh, there we go. Yes, I can.
So
Yep.
you got the snake, the tongue, but look at this, the Ouroboros. See the
Oh,
circle
right.
there, the head
Mhm.
of the snake wrapped around its tail.
Yep. Okay. Wow.
Yeah, you
Yep.
never saw that, did you?
No, I never noticed that one.
Yeah.
Phew. Although that's not in every one of their logos, is it, or no?
It's in most of
NASA.
them I've seen.
Most, yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yep. So anyway, it's there. So, all right. So.
Wow.
I think we'll end it with that. Just wanted an introduction into the Illuminati game and the mysteriousness of it, mystique of it, and addressing it. You know, we address different things here. All right. My website, again, is jimdukeperspective.com. Check it out. Subscribe to us. Share this information. Share it on all your social media. Let's get the word out, and we'll see you next time. God bless.